So I hope today is also a moment for you to reflect on this specific work and get inspired. But with that said, we are here to listen to one person's perspective on the theme, and that's Marijke. She is a campaign organizer and artist, and I'm very looking forward to hear her story.
Thank you, Anna, for having me. Thank you, Creative Morning, and thank you also, Workshop. It's really nice to see so many people here and also some very familiar faces. Part of my family and friends and colleagues are also here. So thank you all, honestly, for being here. So yes, my name is Marijke Everts, and I am campaigns coordinator at Europeana. I coordinate campaigns such as Women's History Month in March and Black History Month in October, which we are actually currently celebrating at Europeana. Need to be a bit louder? Okay, I will try my best. Just to give you like a little brief summary of Europeana, because there's really a lot to say about it, and hard to say in just a few moments, but at Europeana we work to showcase and promote Europe's cultural heritage. And on the side of that, I am also an artist. And I kind of want to start first with this image of me and my brothers, my two brothers, my lovely brothers, from when we were really young. We were living in Senegal at the time, and I believe heading to the Netherlands for holiday, but maybe my dad can tell me a bit more about that later. I'm not 100% sure. But this photo kind of represents our life journey as a family and moving around quite a bit. I was born in Ghana to a Dutch father who's right here with me and a Ghanaian mother. And when I was 3, we moved to Senegal and we spent 9 years there and then moved to Italy, spent 7 years there, finished high school. The whole family moved to the Netherlands, where I went to the Royal Academy of Art here in The Hague, and studied fine arts there, and then spent 13 years in the Netherlands before I also moved to France 3 years ago, by the way, and come often to the Netherlands because Europeana is actually situated here in The Hague. So I move around quite a bit, actually. And in terms of this topic soft and how I see it relating to my work and also my artistic journey, I see it kind of in 2 ways for me. I see it within culture and creativity first as soft power. And within my work, my experiences with this idea of soft power and using culture to enact change kind of started when I came into this team called the Audience Engagement Team, where we use the cultural heritage materials that we have at Europeana to write stories and tell stories of European history. And I moved around in Europeana a lot, but once I arrived in this team and we were actually working for the first time for our Women's History Month campaign in 2019, I started to notice that the stories that were written there didn't really reflect people like me a lot. And I also thought, well, you know, there are people like me who have also had an impact on European history, who are part of European culture, and who have influenced European culture. So I thought, well, why don't I just start writing actually about Black people, mixed people who've done that? So maybe other people out there also can see people like themselves reflected in European history as well. So then I started my first editorial on Josephine Baker. She was a massive influence in Europe, actually, a beautiful performer, dancer, and also activist who denounced segregation with her platform wherever she went. She also was a spy during World War II and got honored for that in France and also became a French citizen. She also ended up adopting 12 children, all from different nationalities, trying to kind of emphasize this aspect of no matter where you're from, no matter your skin color, everyone can be brothers and sisters. Of course, adopting 12 children and kind of at the same time bringing them into the spotlight and emphasizing that also can have a negative trauma for these kids, but it's also okay to kind of show the complexity of people, that they can do good but also are kind of imperfect at the same time. The next editorial that I wrote was also for Pride Month, and it was on Alvin Ailey, who founded the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater and found a lot of success around Europe and across the world around with this dance theater. And he created it because he felt that there was not a lot of space, safe haven for a lot of Black performers, especially gay performers as well, and wanted to create this kind of safe haven for them. And I realized when also thinking about this topic of soft power is that these people use their talents, their skills to enact change across the world. That is literally a form of soft power. And also with the support of my colleagues, they helped me create more stories on Black history and Black influence within Europe and beyond. And from having just a few editorials around these stories in 2019, we now have about 51 stories of Black figures, noble figures, movements, and exhibition as well. And it's just kind of beautiful to me to start from a small amount to kind of grow this, and then in 2021 have our official first celebration of Black History Month in October, and have this annual celebration every year after that. And starting from feeling kind of not shown within European history to having so much representation and the diversity of representation, and showing that no one really fits into a box. We hold multiple identities as ourselves, and representing people within their multiple identities was also something that we really wanted to do. And in a way, using culture, promoting it, highlighting it to also make others feel represented is also a form of soft power, using culture to transform the world as well. So that is one way that I felt like I felt something was missing, and I wanted to see something change. And I'm just honored that the people in my team also supported that and made that happen. And for the next thing is, I really, really like this quote from Audre Lorde, an activist, writer, poet, who also had a really massive impact in the Afro-German movement. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. And what I really like about this quote is about the fact that softness is also a form of self-preservation. And in a world where you are othered, in a world and societies that look at you differently because of the color of your skin, maybe also because of your gender, maybe also because of your sexuality, in a world where people might even fear you, self-preservation and caring for yourself is a political act, actually. And there's so much freedom in that, and sometimes it is really, really hard. So this has also kind of carried me into my own artistic journey. And I kind of first want to go back now to where it kind of all started, which was at the Art Academy in The Hague. The image below is the part of my graduation work, actually. I made installation works around home. And the other two are installation works that I exhibited around the Netherlands for a year after graduation. And as you can see, I love to experiment with taking different things, paintings that are kind of using different styles and formats as well. I mean, I am from a mixed background. I hold different cultures within myself. I've traveled around, and it was just normal for me to be curious and to want to explore different mediums, even different styles within one painting itself as well. And I realized that at the Art Academy, this was very confusing for a lot of teachers, actually, except for one who was very supportive. They didn't understand me. They didn't understand what I was doing. And I felt very much like they wanted to put me into a box. And I didn't understand that. How can someone who grew up with a Ghanaian mother who was telling her stories of Anansi the spider orally before going to bed, and a father who would read stories of the Grimm brothers from a book, how can that person stick into a box? How can someone who ate so many different foods listen to Bach and Chopin sometimes when my father would play it, and then listen to Ghanaian music or Senegalese music, ate, hagelslag for breakfast, or then other things as well? How can you fit into a box? How is it not natural that I want to explore so many different styles and continuously change and explore that, because that is literally who I am? And so I definitely felt this kind of putting into a box was almost saying that there's something wrong with me and I am wrong in some way. So it was honestly a struggle, but with the support of that one teacher and the immense beautiful students that also supported me, I kind of made my way through it and persevered anyway. And there was this kind of aha moment when everything that I was making, photography, paintings, text, poetry, just all came together into a space. I had this aha moment, and even my teachers who doubted me had this aha moment of, okay, I kind of get it now. And for me, it was just collecting all these paintings, these works, and putting them there in a space. It was like suddenly all these spaces, this is home. And for a long time, I was not sure where home was because of all the multitude of places I've been and the multitude of identities I hold. But home is actually all of these places, all of these spaces, all of these memories. And I ended up creating installation works around home for my graduation. And by the way, in the 4th year, when I had this not graduation work, but right before you graduate, this installation work, I decided I'm not going to graduate, actually. I'm going to do another year and actually continue and explore this topic of home and installation works as well. So after the Art Academy and doing, after the Art Academy and doing a year of exhibitions around the Netherlands, it's tough. It's tough to leave the Art Academy. It's beautiful to do exhibitions and see your work valued, but it's also tough to sustain it financially as well. And I think a lot of artists can experience that difficulty of pursuing your art career. And I found myself that I needed to really find a job, and I did some odd jobs here and there before I landed at Europeana. And what happened there was landing at Europeana also kind of provided me this weird imposter syndrome of being in a new environment, of being in a new space, and feeling a bit like I'm not sure that I also really belong here. I thought the work was beautiful. I was so grateful to be tied to culture because of my art background, but there was just this feeling of, I don't know if I'm good at this, actually. And then at the same time, there was a massive pause in art. And there was this kind of guilt and shame that came with that because of working 5 days a week and mentally not having the space to do art. Then shifting to 3 days a week, and you would think you would finally have the space to do art, but then you're stressed out about money and other things as well. And again, there was just no space. I even rented a space with some friends thinking it would help me create art, and I hardly ever showed up there as well. And it honestly took me years of pausing and this guilt and shame that I was so tired of. It really is exhausting to feel not good enough, to feel ashamed of not being able to create, and also have this imposter syndrome at work. And honestly, it's only recently that I've started really working on my relationship with myself. So that message also from Audre Lorde really inspires me, and also this aspect of really taking care of yourself no matter where you are, and really learning to love yourself no matter where you are at on your journey. And once I started to tell myself, it really is okay, Marijke, I know you can't make art right now, but it's okay. And it sounds really cheesy, but even just saying it's okay and I love you just the way you are, honestly, actually kind of made me more curious to explore art again. It's really strange. Just saying, no, it's fine, you don't have to make anything, suddenly brought back this kind of childness back into me and this curiosity to make art again. And this is a picture from Ghana. Last year I went to visit family also with my parents in Ghana. And as I was heading there, I saw also this beautiful documentary called The Color of Ink. If no one has seen it, I honestly recommend it. It really inspired me because it was talking about using nature to make pigments and to make paintings. And I've been wanting to do it for so long and just never did. And suddenly, with a bit more self-love towards myself, I realized, well, why not now? And when I was in Ghana, I was just collecting some earth pigments, some stones, and even just trying some raw ways of just painting without any expectations. And when I went back to France, it was winter actually when I went back to France, and I am not good with European winters. It's very, very dark here, guys. I'm sure you all can agree. Very depressing. But there was kind of a weird shift inside of me, to be honest. And I was like, well, why don't we use this darkness since the sun comes up very, very late? Why don't we go out and try and see the sunrise, actually? So I started to go out to see the sunrise, and it was just beautiful to watch the colors changing in front of your eyes and just to see art happening in front of me, and going out and collecting stones and thinking, I'm gonna make art out of this, even rusted metals as well that I would like put into this fermentation process to then make paint out of. There was just this beautiful childishness of like looking at nature and seeing art everywhere, basically. And maybe we can go to the next slide. No. And so you can see here there's a few stones I collected from Ghana, and it also kind of fits this topic of soft if you think about it, like going from something hard or feeling not so good and just smashing that up and creating something soft and creating art out of it. And there are some paint pigments that I've made out of that as well. So then there's also the aspect of sharing with friends as well, which I hadn't done in a while, and just creating this kind of community of just making art together. No matter what people do, I've got some friends who don't feel like they're artists, but just doing something together, having that community was also really beautiful as well. And what it made me also realize is that despite whatever doubts I had in certain things, it really kind of, it honestly doesn't matter. I've had friends who told me, like, I don't know how to make oil painting. I don't do oil painting. I'm not good at it. And I just said, please come over. I've got oil paints. Let's just make oil paints together and just watch. And it's just beautiful to see and take people on this journey with me, also using earth pigments that it was my first time doing, and I could just bring people along and try that stuff with me as well. And maybe we can go to the next. And I ended my graduation with installation works, and I wanted to create some installation works as well, and bring music into it. And last year at my birthday, I had some paintings, and as you can see, unfinished works, but I thought, whatever, I don't care, it's okay. And having these musicians play in these unfinished works was still very beautiful to me, and to be able to interact with friends, because it was within my home and just something for my friends, discussing the music, connecting it to the artworks, even if they're unfinished, was also a really beautiful process. And I'm at this space where I'm really, really slow with art because I'm also juggling work, but I'm not ashamed about it anymore. I'm actually happy. I'm happy with the process. I'm happy with the excitement of discovering also nature and other forms of materials that I can always cultivate and use and explore within my artworks. And maybe we can go to the next, yeah. And I'm starting to slowly get back into making installation works, but with a lot less shame and a lot less guilt within myself. And I've been also learning to play the saxophone for a year now, by the way. And this Persian framed drum instrument called the daf, a bit more recent, because I love music and because I want to explore bringing music within my art. And it's all a process. It's all very slow. I don't know how far I'm gonna get, and my saxophone teacher keeps telling me, you're gonna be learning this for years and years and years. I'm 35 years old, by the way, so sometimes I worry, how long do I have to learn these things? But I'm okay with that, I'm okay with however long it takes, and there's just a lot less shame. There's a lot less guilt there, and it's beautiful to try things without feeling like you're not good enough, or like you shouldn't because you started late in life. And so I guess what I also kind of want to say is that it's nice to lean into your soft power and show love towards yourself where you are on your journey. Your talents, our talents, are really our soft power. And they can inspire people. And even if you think there's something that you've wanted to learn for a really long time that you haven't done because you think it's too late in life, if there's something that you wanted to learn but you haven't because you think you're not going to be good at it, just try it out, like you have really nothing to lose. And also share with friends. You don't have to share with the world if you don't want to. You don't have to share on social media. I'm really bad at social media and it takes me forever to post things online. But share, because you have no idea who else you're going to inspire. And you are definitely inspired by other people doing things as well. So there is really a beautifulness to sharing and knowing that your art matters and it has the capability of influencing and producing change in this world as well. So, yeah. Thank you so much.
Marijke, thank you so much. Oh my God, I'm becoming old. Thank you. Everyone, please stay.
Yeah.
We have your Q&A session. So does anyone have a question for Marijke?
Sure. I'm just going to sit here, if that's okay.
Comfort. The super inspiring. Thanks so much. The question around feeling lost. Like, for me, it's not one and done thing, how can you do, how would you suggest or advise, to navigate that, being a big lost or being in the bottom?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is tough. It's tough when you're in it. And for me, it's also ups and downs. Of course, this journey of learning to love yourself a bit more, learning to love myself a bit more. I realize it's a continuous practice, of course, and everything in life needs maintenance, right? Your relationships with people also means your relationship with yourself needs actual maintenance, right? And also realizing, for me, a major part of it was realizing that, everything in life, even this time of feeling lost, is not going to last forever. I can do a lot to be kinder to myself, to make that process a lot gentler, and knowing that there is an end to that feeling and something will evolve from there as well. But trying to be a lot kinder to myself as I'm in that feeling, as I'm in that mentality is important. But yeah, it's tough. And I think, you know, and as I said, in life, we go through cycles, we go through seasons of yeah, different feelings and different spaces and different challenges, right? But it's just being kinder to yourself as you go through that, I think. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Hey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed a little bit.
No, it's okay.
I wondered to what extent you've seen the art training world change. Have you seen that change to any extent that you could embrace a bit more of a sculpture idea that how you don't come out of art school as a field for artists? You go through these cycles and you're learning constantly. Is there more of a sort of softer thing? I don't know, how is using training change to sort of embrace any more softer cycle-based approach?
So I don't know actually if it's changed that much, but I did read an interesting article recently kind of about this similar process also of artists who maybe, you know, have had to pause because they have families now, especially women, or because they've had, again, also to find a job and then want to get back into the art world, that there has been a lot less space for them because a lot of let's say grants or a lot of spaces want to see this linear career of an artist, which doesn't exist. You know, it's cycles. You know, there are pauses and there's getting back. There are families. It's a process. So within that article, it was calling for the art world to recognize that and to make space for that. Do I know that there's really spaces like that yet? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we have time for one more question. Philip?
Well, I was wondering, because you shared that you have a very rich cultural background and very diverse as well. And living in so many places, I wonder, which place do you feel like you want to go or you tend to go back to allow yourself to be softer, like if that environment really...
That's interesting. In terms of actual physical space? Yeah.
Or also metaphorics.
I will be honest that it's hard in terms of one physical space, because wherever I go, even let's say I go back to Ghana and I'm really, really inspired there, I still get the sense of, you're 35 years old, why are you not married? Why don't you have kids? So I don't feel very soft, you know, so much. Of course, there's other things of coming to the Netherlands and also having a very typical Dutch name and not looking like a typical Dutch person either, and struggling here and there with my Dutch and also feeling a little not really there. So in the end, it's really not the physical spaces themselves. It's really just kind of realizing that it's no space in every space at the same time, just within, if that makes sense. The softness is really more a within thing than an actual space around me. I take things that influence and I try and let go of the things that, you know, try to affect me. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.